There is a man sitting in a cubicle right now who is smarter than his boss. He is more hardworking than his boss. He has better ideas than his boss. And yet, at the end of every month, his boss takes home 3 times what he earns. This is not a story about fairness. This is not a story about who deserves what. This is a story about one thing and one thing only. The way 2 people, with the same raw material, can look at the exact same world and see completely different things. One sees a job. The other sees a market. Both of them grew up in the same kind of house. Both of them went to the same kind of school. Both of them had parents who told them, study hard, get a good job, work your way up. The advice was given with love. It was also incomplete, because the people who gave the advice had never built anything of their own. They knew how to survive the system. Nobody had taught them how to build one. And so the advice they gave their children was the best they had. But it was a map with only one road on it. Both boys followed that road. For a while. Then one of them looked up and asked a question that changed everything. He did not ask it out loud. He asked it in the silence of a Tuesday afternoon when nobody was watching. The question was this: who built this? Not who runs it now. Who built it originally? Who sat in a room one day with nothing and decided that all of this would exist? That question is the first crack in the employee ceiling. Most people never ask it. Not because they are not smart enough, but because the question is uncomfortable. And uncomfortable questions threaten comfortable arrangements. So most people put the question down and go back to work. But the man in our story, the one who eventually becomes an owner, he picks it up. He carries it home. He thinks about it in the shower. He thinks about it until it stops being a question and starts being a lens. And once you see the world through that lens, you cannot unsee it. That is where the difference begins. The employee has a deeply personal relationship with the clock. He clocks in, he clocks out. His entire financial life is built on the exchange of his time for a fixed amount of money. 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, for 40 years. That is 80,000 hours of a human life traded for an income. Now here is the question the owner asks about those 80,000 hours. What am I building with this time that will still exist after the time is spent? The employee spends time and receives money. The owner invests. The difference is not the hours. When the employee gets sick, his income stops. When the owner gets sick, his systems keep running. This is not magic. It is architecture. The owner spent years building the architecture before it could run without him. The employee spent those same years perfecting his skill set inside someone else's architecture. Both were working hard. Only one was building equity. Now let us talk about money. Because the employee and the owner do not just earn money differently. They see it differently from the ground up. The employee sees money as the destination. Work hard. Get paid. That is the complete equation. The owner sees money as a tool. A raw material. Something that exists to build more of itself. The employee asks, how do I earn more money? The owner asks, how do I build something that generates more money without requiring more of my time? The employee celebrates the raise. The owner knows that no raise will ever compound the way equity does. A 5% raise on a $50,000 salary is $2,500 a year. 5% equity in a company that grows from $0 to $1 million is $50,000 of value created. Same percentage. 100 times the result. This is not theory. This is arithmetic. But arithmetic requires you to believe you can build something worth owning a percentage of. And that belief is exactly where the employee mindset creates its deepest damage. Not because the employee is foolish, but because every system around him was designed to reward execution, not creation. Execute the task. Hit the target. Receive the reward. Repeat. There is nothing in that loop that asks, what should the next task be? Who should decide what we are building? The owner lives outside the loop. He designed the loop. He hired the people to run it. He measures whether it is working. Now let us talk about problems. Because the way the employee and the owner see a problem is perhaps the single most revealing difference between them. The employee sees a problem and first asks, is this my responsibility? If the answer is no, and often the answer is no, he keeps walking. Not because he is lazy, because he has been trained that staying in his lane is professionalism. The owner sees a problem and asks, How much is this costing us? And how do I fix it? There is no such thing as someone else's problem when you own the business. Every inefficiency is money walking out the door. Every wasted hour in the operation is a real cost. Every customer who leaves unhappy is future revenue that will never come back. The employee fixes what is assigned. The owner fixes what is broken, whether it was assigned or not. In the short run, the employee has the easier day. In the long run, every problem the owner solves becomes a permanent improvement in the value of what he owns. Every problem the employee walked past because it was not his lane. This is not an argument against employment. Employment is how most of the world runs. This is an argument for understanding what employment can and cannot do for you, and then deciding consciously, not by default, which life you are choosing. Most people never decide. They drift. They accept the first job, then the second, then the promotion, then the mortgage built around the salary, then the lifestyle inflated to match the raise. And then one day they look up and realize the mortgage requires the salary, which requires the job, which requires their continued compliance with everything the employer needs from them. The golden handcuffs. Comfortable enough to not leave. Not good enough to actually be free. Now let us go to the place where the real conversation lives. The real conversation is not about what you do. It is about how you see yourself. The employee sees himself as a provider of labor. I work for the company. My job is to do what the company needs. My income reflects what the company decides I am worth. The owner sees himself as a creator of value. I identify problems in the world. I build solutions. I deliver those solutions to people who need them. My income reflects the value of those solutions in the market. Same city. Same economy. Two completely different identities operating inside it. And identity, not skill, not capital, not connections, is the first variable. You cannot build an owner's life from an employee's identity. The shift has to happen inside before it happens outside. Now let us talk about something almost nobody talks about. How the employee and the owner see other people. The employee sees colleagues as competition. Because in a corporate hierarchy, there are only so many senior positions. Your colleague getting the promotion means you did not get it. The owner sees other people as the multiplier. In an owner's world, there is no fixed number of success slots. Markets grow. Pies expand. The owner understands that the best move is to make the pie bigger, not to fight harder for the existing slice. The employee hoards knowledge. If you are the only one who knows how to do the thing, you are safe. The owner shares knowledge obsessively. Because the owner's security comes from owning the system, not from being the only one who can run it. Now let us talk about failure. Because nothing separates the two mindsets more clearly than what happens when things go wrong. The employee's relationship with failure is shaped by one thing: performance reviews. In a performance review system, failure is a negative data point. So the employee learns to avoid failure at almost any cost, including the cost of not trying things that might have worked. The owner's relationship with failure is fundamentally different. Not because the owner enjoys failing, but because he understands that every failure contains a specific piece of information that success does not provide. Success tells you that what you did worked. Failure tells you exactly what does not work and why. The owner treats failure as data. And data is the most valuable input a business can have. The employee treats failure as a verdict on his worth. This is the deepest damage the employee mindset does. It fuses identity with outcome. The owner learns to separate them. Not perfectly, not without pain, but with enough distance to keep thinking clearly after a loss. Now let us talk about learning. The employee learns to complete requirements. The degree, the certification, the professional development hours mandated by the company. This is not bad learning. It is bounded learning. The owner learns to solve problems that do not yet have solutions. He reads books that nobody assigned. He calls people who know more than him and asks questions that feel uncomfortable to ask. He applies the learning immediately, not to pass a test, to fix a real problem. The employee's biggest fear around learning is looking stupid. The owner's biggest cost around learning is not learning fast enough. One is protecting ego. The other is racing against time.